Welcome to the University of Leicester main event. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far. The session you're in right now is a talk about journalism. So I'm going to pass you over to Tor Clark, who's from the department, and he's going to talk to you about what's great about studying journalism at Leicester. If you've got any questions as we go through, pop them in the question and answer section, and when we get to the end, we'll answer all those questions. This has been recorded, so we'll send you a link to it next week. You can have a catch up and watch it through again. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Tor.
Thank you, Liz. Hello, everybody. My name's Tor Clark. I am Associate Professor in Journalism and Programme Director of the BA Journalism and the BA Journalism with Creative Writing. And I want to welcome you all to I have to say, it's nice to be able to actually talk to you live again after so long. I hope you are able to enjoy today's presentation, and I hope it makes it a bit more sort of live and real for you. So I'll just get going with the presentation. What we're going to do today is I'm going to take you through the programme, tell you what's good about coming to Leicester and studying journalism at Leicester, and as I say, at the end I shall take questions. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, why would you like to come to Leicester? And there are some reasons for you. You can read all those. You don't need me to read all those out for you. But Leicester is a great university. It's about to celebrate its centenary. Leicester, the city's nice. The university is close to the city, but just slightly out of it. The students all live, or a lot of them live, in a student village just a little bit further south. And there's a very good atmosphere around it. And I have to say that I declare an interest. I actually did my master's at Leicester, so it's one of my former universities as well. So Leicester's a great city. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But primarily, I'm here to talk to you about journalism. And the question that you'll be asking yourself at the moment is, why should you study journalism? Well, the first thing to say is, and it's not just me that thinks this, journalism is important. It shapes how we view the world. Indeed, most of your opinions about the world are created through journalism. How do you know whether you prefer Donald Trump to Joe Biden, for example? That impression has been offered to you by journalism. Second most important thing is, it's a lot of fun. You can't really do a journalism degree without having fun, because journalism is exciting and it gets you close to what's going on. The BA journalism, as we've got it designed here, offers you the opportunity to do journalism and to study journalism and to be assessed in both. So that's another way of saying that it offers a fantastic combination of theory and practice. And it also equips you for a vast range of careers in the general communications industries. So, of course, BA journalism is a good background if you're interested in getting into journalism. But the world now is full of communications careers, and a journalism degree and skills that you learn in journalism are really useful for that. The slogan of our course is "Think like a journalist," because, as I said earlier, you will do journalism and you will study journalism, and by the end of the course we hope we'll have you thinking like a journalist. Indeed, I can honestly say by the end of a few weeks we'll have you thinking like a journalist, because that's the experience of our current students. Why are our courses special? Well, this journalism programme is quite new. It's only been going for 2 years, so it's only been going for just over a year. It has 2 years of students now, and I designed it to fit what students need now and what the industry needs now in the forever changing environment of digital journalism. So we start and we emphasize core skills and key skills in journalism across all platforms of journalism, with an early focus on developing your skills. There's a broad focus on all aspects of journalism, digital and social media journalism, print media, broadcast media, because journalists these days are expected to work in all different media. So there's no point in just doing one. Students get the opportunity to look at and develop skills in all different kinds of media. Employability is a strong element of our program. So students start planning for their future careers from day one. And there's a compulsory first year employability module which sets you up to try and get work experience, and that's followed by a second year module which features a placement which you can design yourselves. So there's a lot going on in the programme to promote employability. I honestly don't know how you run a journalism degree without it having employability at its heart, but there you go, it's worth mentioning it. There's an equal focus on practice and theory, which I mentioned earlier. So it is a proper degree where you get to delve into the interesting background, context and controversies around journalism, but you also get to do journalism. A lot of journalism degrees focus on one end or the other. We think we've got a fairly even match, and indeed in many modules there is a mix of practice and theory going on within the same module, because we believe that theory and practice inform one another. And we have specialist options which allow you to focus on areas which interest you, for example, broadcast journalism, sports journalism or political journalism. So back to our wonderful city. Leicester is a buzzing city, and great, what I've said there is great culture, sport and food. There is a vast range of restaurants on London Road, which is the main road which goes up past the university. If you're a sports fan, it's the home of the 2016 Premiership champions Leicester City, who should have been in the Champions League again this year, but for a late season loss of form. They're not letting the fans back in yet, but when they do, that stadium is packed with 32,000 people every week, and it raises the bar in terms of sport in Leicester. You'll be taught by experts in their areas. Your courses will be full of the latest exciting research, and you'll get to do your own research project with a leading researcher in your third year. And if you come to study at Leicester, you'll meet people from all across the world. Our student population is very diverse, and our staff population is very diverse. We have 5 colleagues from Greece alone. And at the moment, when I'm teaching, because a lot of our teaching is virtual at the moment, on one call I will have students from all over the world. Just the other day I did a seminar with at least 2 people from China and another one from Malaysia, all on the same call. So it is a diverse university. It is a truly global university. I should tell you a little bit about the School of Media Communication and Sociology, in which the journalism programs are based. So the Centre for Mass Communication Research, which begun the evolution of our school, was established in 1966. It's even older than me. And it was the first research centre in the UK dedicated to the study of media and communication. And that, as I mentioned earlier, that's where I did my master's a few years ago. The school developed significantly after 2009, and it became the School of Media Communication and Sociology in 2016. In 2017, I developed the BA Journalism, and we offered it to our first students last September 2019, and our second cohort of students arrived just about a month ago. We have a range of courses for you to choose from. First of all, there's the BA Journalism, which I'll talk about in some detail later on. That's a straight single honours programme of journalism. We also have a very popular BA Journalism with Creative Writing, which is 75% journalism, 25% creative writing. It's what you might call an old-fashioned major-minor combination. Very new for this year is BA Journalism with a year abroad, whereby you get to choose a place to study abroad for your third year, and then you come back and do a fourth year in Leicester. So that turns a 3-year domestic degree into a 4-year degree with a year abroad. Those are the 3 current journalism variants. We also offer BA Media and Communication, BA Sociology, and BA Media and Society, which is a mix of those 2, and also BA Film and Media. So if you're not sure what you want to study, there's the full list to have a look at. I'm going to talk you through now how the programs shape up over the whole 3 years, both BA Journalism and BA Journalism with Creative Writing. So both of those programs have a completely compulsory first year. In the second year, there are 4 compulsory modules and 2 optional modules in the main BA Journalism. But for Journalism with Creative Writing, you can translate the 2 optional modules into 2 creative writing modules. In the final year, there is a compulsory dissertation, a compulsory publishing project, and 4 optional modules. So let's look at it year by year. So in the first year, the BA Journalism has focuses on practical modules. As I've said, we've got news basics and features journalism, which cover the 2 important aspects of journalism, which are news and features. And this is where the key and core skills that I've talked about are delivered. Key concepts in journalism does what it says on the tin. It looks at the context around journalism, the controversies, the issues, that sort of thing. Journalism and ethics and regulation looks at how journalism is regulated, both by the law, by codes of regulation, and by general ethical issues. And that's one of my favourite modules, because that's the module where you can have some really good debates about what's acceptable in journalism. Journalism employability, I've mentioned before, is a module where you develop your employability skills in order to make you absolutely ready to do work experience and to develop your skills. And then alongside that, you do some general modules which introduce you to the whole world of media and communication in the first year. Introduction to Media and Communication introduces you to the whole field, and Media Origins introduces you to the history of the media, of which, of course, journalism is a major part. Introduction to Academic Skills is a really helpful module which helps you make the jump from wherever you are now, having done A-levels or BTECs or whatever, to the work you need to do at degree level, because it is a change which students notice, and their experience over the years has persuaded us that we need to offer a little bit more help to make that change. The first year of the BA with Creative Writing is exactly the same as the first year of the normal BA Journalism, except instead of Journalism Ethics and Regulation and Media Origins, you do 2 modules of an Introduction to Creative Writing. They're parts 1 and 2. So within that first year, you do the core journalism modules and then a couple of creative writing modules. So in the second year, we begin to offer you some optionality. And what happens in the second year is, on the main BA Journalism, you do multi-platform and entrepreneurial journalism, which is the main first term module. Broadcast Journalism 1, which is radio journalism. And in the second term, you do Journalism Studies, which is a follow-on contextual module, and Media Research, which is a module which gets you ready to write your dissertation in the third year. Alongside that, you can choose optional modules. So in the first term, the choice is between doing a journalism placement and political communication. And in the second term, the choice is between Broadcast Journalism 2, which is television journalism, and magazine journalism. Broadcast Journalism 2 has deliberately been put in the second term because it's a follow-on module from Broadcast Journalism 1. So we start with radio and then move on to TV. But if you are more interested in magazines, you can do magazine journalism instead in the second term. If you're doing creative writing, you don't have the optional choices. The optional choices are replaced by 2 creative writing modules. The first one is using stories, and the second one is advanced creative writing. But the core modules, as you can see there, are exactly the same. Now, the third year is where it gets a lot of fun, because in the third year, we only have 2 things that we insist that you do. And those are the Journalism Publishing Project where you work with a group of students to produce a publishing project, which can be a magazine, it might be a website, it will depend on what students want to do, and you do that over the 2 semesters. Also over the 2 semesters, you do what we're calling a journalism investigation, which is our equivalent of a dissertation. This is an 8,000 word project with individual original research. Now, those 2, you do those over both semesters, but alongside those, you choose 4 optional modules. And for BA journalism, so those the core modules are both exactly the same for both, but for BA journalism, the optional modules include political journalism, sports journalism, data journalism, writing for PR, media, celebrity, fan culture, reporting panics, community radio, games and culture, online journalism, and financial journalism, which isn't on that list but should be. Those are the range of modules which is available currently. If you are doing journalism with creative writing, you get the same journalism options, plus forms of modern poetry, community radio in practice, writing voices, writing prose fiction, understanding screenplays, transcultural publishing industry, and writing for laughs. So you get a nice range of creative writing choices there as well. There is a health warning with all of this, and that health warning is that these are the modules we would like to offer you, but the choice will vary from year to year due to changing factors such as staff availability and student uptake. So there are modules on the list that I've just shown you which won't be there, but there are definitely new modules which will be there. So we already have a financial journalism module approved, and we know we're working on an investigative journalism module, which I can't officially tell you about because that's not been approved yet, but we know we would like to do that for the 3rd year. So as I say, it may be that not all those modules are available to you when you get to the 3rd year, but it may also be that different and better modules are available to you. How do we teach? Well, most practical journalism is done in interactive workshops. In normal times, that happens in computer labs, but we also have lectures and seminars for our more traditional modules. There's a lot of practical work in the practical sessions. Students do practical work every week. We also have group work and presentations. A lot of assessment is done in portfolio form. We like that. And unfortunately, there is one exam in the 1st year. We are looking to get rid of that if we can in the future. And obviously, at the moment, I don't think exams are actually operating in the way that they have done in the past. We teach in 2 11-week semesters between September and December, and between January and March. And you would generally do, you certainly would in journalism, 3 modules per semester. There's an exam period in April to June, which won't affect journalism students. Yeah, that's how the academic year pans out. And we are currently, I think we've just finished week 4 of this academic year with our current students. We support you. And that's a really important part of the School of Media Communication and Sociology. So you will have a personal tutor from day 1 at university. You will meet that personal tutor in Welcome Week, and that personal tutor will provide academic support and pastoral support. There are careers tutors and dissertation tutors, module leaders and course leaders that can help you as well. And then within the wider university, we have the Accessibility Centre, which helps with issues around disability. We have the Wellbeing Service, which offers counselling and wellbeing support. We have Student Welfare Service, Learning Careers Development, and a careers mentoring system. Employability is really important to us, as we've said before, and at the in the journalism degree, as I've said, we offer an employability module, and as part of that module you'll get to do the Leicester Award, which is an employability award designed by this university, which is an award which can go on your degree transcript, and you can put it on your CV as soon as you've got it in the first year. We have lots of opportunities, so we offer a study abroad, which we've mentioned in the year abroad. There are trips out to places, and we have facilities that are useful for journalism across the campus. And particularly interesting is the redevelopment of the Percy G building, the Student Union building, which has student broadcasting facilities in it, which journalism students obviously would be using. It's not finished yet. I think the work's still going on, so when that is completed, those new broadcasting facilities will be available to our students. But don't take our word for it. I'd like you to listen to one of our students who has done a little video for you. In fact, there's two of our students there, Lena and Toby, on the video, but have a listen to what Lena has to say.
My name is Lena and I'm studying journalism. The reason why I chose University of Leicester is due to the fact that when I compared all my universities of my choice, Leicester just seemed to have the best modules, and I really like the way the course looks. So the best part of my course is that I get to experience real life journalism. I get to go out, take my own interviews, and then after I get to experience writing my own articles from it as well. My lectures are absolutely amazing. They offer so much support. We all get assigned a personal tutor at the start of the year as well, so you can go to them about any issue whatsoever. So one of the brilliant facilities that we have is that we have a fantastic library. You can book out little rooms if you have group projects where you can look at the big screen. So I'd recommend this course if you're an aspiring journalist, as I feel like in such a short amount of time I've been prepared for my future. I've been taught how to, write articles, how to take proper interviews, and I just feel like if that I've managed to do that in such a short amount of time, that by the time I graduate, I'm going to have a variety of skills that I'll be able to use in my work life.
So that was a video from one of our current students. It is possible that you couldn't see that, but we will have to apologies if you weren't able to see that. I like that video because it's students talking to other students, but I'm sorry if you didn't manage to see that. Just to conclude then, this is how you apply to Leicester. You apply through UCAS. We're looking for 3 Bs at A level if possible. We're looking for a GCSE English language grade of B or higher, of course. Very happy with EPQs, access courses, and the International Baccalaureate, and BTEC Nationals at DDM level. We're looking for students who can become citizens of change. They need to have empathy and the ability to care for others. They need to have the ability to treat people with respect, to thrive with responsibility and leadership, to manage uncertainty, to develop resilience, and to have the ability to solve problems. And students like that can become citizens of change and have a big influence on their surroundings. So why Leicester? Just to conclude, it's important, as I've said earlier, you will get to do plenty of journalism. We'll prepare you for a range of communications careers. We'll hope to help you think like a journalist, and you'll have a lot of fun. As I said earlier, we celebrate our centenary next year, and we're very proud of what Leicester's achieved in its first 100 years, and Sir David Attenborough and the whole Attenborough family were significant parts of that. David Attenborough's father was the principal of the original University College, and David Attenborough and his brother Richard actually lived in a house that's still on main campus, and so the Attenborough family retain very close links with our university. And if you were to come to Leicester, you would be part of our centenary celebrations next year. So we have some scholarships. Details are there on the screen for you. Citizens of Change 100 scholarships, which will obviously make a difference if you choose to come to Leicester. If you want to know anything else about our programme, you can contact me. My name's Tor Clark. My email address is dead straightforward, tor.clark@leicester.ac.uk. So thank you for your attention. I've taken about half an hour there to introduce the course, and I'm now very happy to take any questions, and I'll unshare my screen so you can finally see who I am.
So the first question we've got is, what is the difference between a media and communication course and a journalism course?
Good question. Difference between a media degree and a journalism degree. The simple answer to that is you'll do a lot more practice in a journalism degree. So media and communication is about the study of the media. It's about research and into the media and study of the media. And so it's a very good degree. I mean, I teach on that degree. I teach journalism modules on that degree. It's a really interesting topic, and media and communication gives you a wide spread of interest across the whole of media and communication. But it does. There are a couple of practical modules, I think, around photography and filmmaking. But journalism actually has to have a focus on the art of journalism, on the practice of journalism. So the journalism degree gives you lots of opportunity to actually do journalism. In fact, it's the core part of what we do. So the simple answer to that question is that BA journalism contains a lot more practical at work and is more geared towards a career in journalism, whereas BA Media and Communication is a more general degree which focuses on researching media and communication and is geared towards a whole range of careers across the whole of the media and communication sector.
Great, that's lovely. Thank you very much. So another question here. When do you have to decide about doing a year abroad?
So what you do is you actually apply for BA journalism, and you all do a normal first year with that degree. And during the course of your first year, you need to think about whether you want to do a year abroad. And if you do, you need to apply for it about now in your second year. So my students currently, my current second years, are looking at their options in terms of where they want to study. And so I think the deadline is very early next month. So I had a tutorial yesterday with a student who wants to study in Canada, and she's got to work out what she wants to do and how she wants to go and the modules she wants to study with support from the university. So if you apply to study abroad, if you get accepted, your degree title then changes to BA Journalism with a year abroad. If you don't go, you keep the same title, BA Journalism. Is that okay, Liz?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. So it's related to this in a way, I suppose, but what placements or years in industry can students do?
Okay, we don't have a year in industry as such. We have a year abroad, but not yet a year in industry. What we do is we encourage students to do work experience throughout their degree. So students actually do work experience as part of some of their modules. We've got 2 placements set up that students actually do while they're doing within modules that they're taught. But we also encourage students to do placements in the summer, because students have long summer holidays and they should make use of those summer holidays. And in the second year, there is a module called Journalism Placement, whereby students organise a placement, and the placement is actually their learning. They do the placement and they reflect on the placement, and that is a module which counts towards their degree. Okay, lovely. I've got a question here that you'll understand this acronym, I'm sure. Do you offer the NCTJ? No, we don't. The NCTJ is the National Council for the Training of Journalists, and they accredit journalism programmes all over the UK, as the questioner will know. And I am an NCTJ trained journalist. I qualified as an NCTJ trained journalist. I'm trying to work out 28 years ago, an awful long time ago. So I am NCTJ qualified, and I love the NCTJ. I had lunch with the chief executive of the NCTJ in March, just before the lockdown, and we get on very well. But in my academic career, I've also launched and led an NCTJ accredited journalism programme at another university. But when I came to Leicester, I decided that I was not immediately going to look for NCTJ accreditation, because although it's good, I felt it was unnecessary for our course. And the reason for that is twofold, really. The NCTJ is set up was set up to provide employment for trainee reporters in regional newspaper industry. And so it's focused at the skills that people need for the regional newspapers and at employment in that sector. Well, unfortunately, that sector has contracted and just doesn't employ journalists the way it used to. So when I did my training, well, I was already employed in newspapers, but the training was appropriate for that. And so the digital journalism has had a huge expansion since those days, and digital journalism offers many more employment opportunities, as does broadcasting and the wider communications industries. So if I'd stuck with the NCTJ, which, as I say, I have no problem with the NCTJ, but if I'd stuck with them, I would have they would have dictated the modules that we offered, and I would have had less choice about what you could have studied. And so I decided to focus on employability within the programme to give students a chance of the best chance of getting a good job on graduation, rather than to go for accreditation. So as I say, I've got nothing against the NCTJ, and in fact, part of my credentials is that I am NCTJ qualified, but I have chosen so far not to go down the accreditation route because I think the degree is more useful without it.
Okay, lovely, good answer, thank you. So next question, how are current students coping with the new blended learning?
Well, they're coping very well. You could also ask how staff were coping, because it's new to all of us. You know, what we're doing today is new to all of us. So what I decided, because you will appreciate, all of you, that there's a lot of tension between whether we should do digital teaching or face-to-face teaching. And what we found was, and this won't be a surprise to you, a lot of staff didn't want to do face-to-face teaching, but what we found, which was quite surprising, was an awful lot of students didn't want to do face-to-face teaching because of the safety aspect. So quite a long time ago, I made the decision that the whole of this term of BA journalism would be taught virtually. And what that's meant has been simply converting what we used to do in a room together to doing in a virtual room together. And it's been a big learning experience for me and the students. But to be honest, so far, while I have noticed differences in how we do things, there have been no differences in how the students have learned things. The big difference is not in the learning, but in the social aspect of the learning. So if you come to Leicester, I would really hope that by next September we'll all be back in a room together. But it's a good question. What the students are doing is the same learning, the same interaction, but they're not with each other. That's the difference. So students are learning the same things, but they're not sitting next to each other while they learn them, and they're not having a chat and a coffee afterwards. Well, they might be, but they're generally not in the same place. So it's different, it's interesting. If I'm honest with you, it's not as straightforward, because when I teach students, I get them to write stories, print them out and give them to me, and I can write on them with a red pen. I can't do that this way, but what I do is I write on them with red type. So we have developed ways of doing it, and as I say, I think they're coping ever so well. But the other thing that should be said on top of that is, because of the current situation and the fact that you're doing learning on your own in front of a laptop like I am now, we've put in place much stronger student support mechanisms. So first year students have what we call a weekly check-in, whereby their personal tutor checks how they are and how they're getting on. And I have found that I'm doing a lot more tutorials with students now online than I used to do face-to-face, although we did quite a few face-to-face. So I spent all day yesterday from 9:15 till 4:30 talking individually to students about how they were doing. So we have decided to put more resources into that side of things to make sure students feel supported.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, someone's asking what extracurricular areas does the course have, i.e. is there a student union newspaper?
Oh yes, we've got some very exciting developments on that front. Last year, a brand new journalism society formed, which was not my doing. It was actually formed by students from right across the university. So the Journalism Society got going last year, and just last month the Leicester Student Magazine was formed. Now the Leicester Student Magazine is sort of a revival of what used to be a newspaper, but a new committee's got involved and they're producing an online magazine called the Leicester Student Magazine, which is absolutely brilliant because journalism students are encouraged to get involved in the magazine. And the work that they do can actually count towards their assessment. So there's like no downside on this. Mentioned facilities earlier. We also have student radio and student television facilities, which are being developed in the student union building. So those are the obvious ones. When I was a student, my extracurricular, co-curricular activities were producing a student newspaper. That's how I got into journalism. But there are all those journalism related activities. And then of course there's all the other ones. I always say to students, you know, do something that's connected with your degree. So that'd be the Journalism Society, the Leicester Student Magazine, something like that. Do some sort of sport or activity. I've got lots of footballers on my course this year. And then do something completely weird and wacky and different that you haven't tried before, just to give it a go. So students do all sorts of interesting things. And then within the school, we have the Media, Communication and Sociology Society as well, which unites the students from the three programs, media, sociology and journalism, in one sort of school-based society.
Thanks, Tor. That's really good advice. I like the advice about doing crazy societies just to try something.
Oh, you've got to do something a bit wacky, yeah. Mm.
Okay, question here, two questions that are related really. How many students are on the course? And then somebody else asks, how many students do you take for journalism and journalism with creative writing? So similar questions.
Okay, yeah. So the first year, the first year we recruited, the course was completely new. And I have to say, we thought we had 12 students, and when they arrived, there were only 6 of them. So the first year is very small but perfectly formed. We have 6 students who've just completed the first year and are into their second year. So we didn't really know, because it's a new course, how it would go. But we now, for the second year of recruitment, so this is very confusing because these are the students who are now in the first year, we have at the last count 23 students, which is fantastic. So it went from 6 in the first year to 23. The course is set up to recruit 24 students a year. And the new Media Lab facilities we have, I've deliberately asked for 24 max in that room so that I can teach 24 students at a time. Now, within that group of 23, 24, we will have a number of students who are also doing creative writing. So this year, currently, it is 10, I think, out of the 23 are doing creative writing. So there isn't a sort of separate cohort. Those 10 students spend 3/4 of the time with the other students, and then 1/4 of their time they spend with the other creative writing students. So the journalism cohort includes journalism and journalism with creative writing. And as I say, at the moment there are 23 first years, and I would look to recruit 24. That would suit me. But if more than that want to come, the university will be happy to take them. So as long as students get the grades we want, we will take them. So you need to work at getting the best grades you can, obviously, but if you get the grades you can get in, and even if you don't quite get the grades that we've asked for you, you can always have a go at clearing to see if we've got any places at clearing. Every year we do take students at clearing. So if you're just sort of 1 grade off or something like that, it's always worth, and if you really want to come to Leicester, it's always worth having a go at clearing.
Lovely, that's great. Thanks very much, Tor. Well, that's all the questions now. So if anybody has any more questions, they can pop on over to the digital drop-in session. That there's some on Unibuddy. There's some chats with staff and students that's going on until 3 o'clock today, and I'll pop a link to that in the questions and answer section. And I've also popped in the link for
I'll be on the
video.
digital chat straight after this, Liz.
Ah, right. Yes. Okay. So yeah, if you want to ask further questions or you're a bit shy to ask them, that's fine. You can ask them on there. And I've popped the link in there for the video as well for you to have a look at as well.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.